Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. It's show number 143. We're brought to you by B&B Butchers and Restaurant at 1814 Washington Ave in Houston and in the shops at Clear Fork in Fort Worth. By the way, we talk a lot about the bacon at B&B, but I should just mention maybe one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
I had at B&B. I mean, these guys know what they're doing.
You know, I've probably said this before, but I can make great steak at my house.
Yes.
But I can't dry age.
You can't dry age it at your house. That's right.
At my house. So the fact that they do that and make that steak is so good. But you can actually, they have a butcher shop. That's why it's B&B Butchers.
So you can go and
you
buy
can
the dry aged steak and take it home.
If you're going to make a steak at your house, why wouldn't you go by there and get a dry aged steak that you can make and just make it amazing?
That's really a great idea. Like I had not done that.
Yeah, if you're going to grill steak,
great idea.
Yeah. You know, because I mean, most grocery stores you can get it up to a specific level of meat.
Right, right.
But if you go there, you're going to get not only that next level of beef, but it's going to be dry aged, and I mean, it'd be hard to mess that up unless you cook it thoroughly.
I just wanted to,
which would be a mistake,
yeah,
I think, if you went by there.
I just wanted to mention that image of the Ronald McDonald's dancing around the KFC is still in my brain.
Can we pull that image back up one more time?
Can you put that back up? This is one of the ones, since I didn't have my images for the cigars.
Can we swap our background and just have that
just
as
the
our
dancing
background?
Ronald McDonald's, smoking and toasting, dancing too. That'd be pretty good. So I mentioned this last week, but I didn't give you his name. Metallica's Blackened Whiskey is first of all, it's actually really good.
It is good.
We were
I
pleased
saw it on
to
the shelf
find
the other
out.
day. It's not even that expensive.
No, it's not. And thankfully, there was a week where we were supposed to have a guest on the show, and they stiffed us. They didn't show at the last minute.
Right.
And I was like, oh no, what are we going to do? Turns out Keegan, who works in the office, actually had a bottle of Blackened with him and was kind enough to let us taste it on the show. And we both, I think, really liked it.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, and I'm not really surprised because Dave Pickerel, the late Dave Pickerel, who is Maker's Mark and Whistle Pig.
And Maker's Mark, yeah.
He's the guy that came up with the recipe. He's the guy that did the distilling. I don't know if he's the guy that picked which Metallica song they were going to blast at it while it was aging in the casks, but he's the guy responsible basically for how that whiskey came out. And of course he's a master distiller, or was a master distiller. He passed away last year unexpectedly when he was in California actually doing a promotional thing for Blackened. And so it's taken them a while, but Metallica has now appointed a new master distiller, and his name is Rob Dietrich. Rob was in Denver. He's been for the last 13 years distilling an American single malt whiskey called Stranahan's. Have you heard of Stranahan's?
Oh, yeah, Stranahan's is
delicious. So I have not had Stranahan's. But he's the guy, basically,
Matter
who
of
will
fact, Mike over at
taking over Blackened.
At Reserve 101, I walked in there one day, and Mike owns the bar over there, and he's I said, what should I try? What's good? And he goes, here, check this out. And he put Stranahan's up there, and I tried a few of their expressions.
A few of them.
Yeah, and it's all delicious.
Well,
from Colorado, yeah.
He's not going to change the recipe or the design, but any further updates or anything. He's the guy, first of all, who will be responsible for getting that same product every time.
Those are big shoes.
Yeah, big shoes to fill. And then obviously if they do any sort of expansion of the brand, he'll be the guy that does it. So I have a feeling that the boys in Metallica are in good hands. I like what he said, though. He goes, it was kind of like getting a call asking him if he wanted to join the band. So that would be pretty cool. Yeah. Hey, Ian, Metallica's on the phone for you. They want to know if you'll come distill their whiskey. I'd be like, only if I get to play the triangle sometimes at live shows. If I can do that, I'm in. I'm absolutely in. It has been a really interesting week. I mentioned that the Trump administration has clamped down on travel to Cuba. It's like I said, it's just getting harder and harder to go after it had sort of pulled back a little bit. And so if you are thinking about heading to Cuba, new regulations will really restrict the ability of U.S. citizens to travel there. It really is another major step in rolling back the Obama era efforts to open the door to better relations, and they've been pretty clear that this administration is interested in regime change there. So who knows where this will go or how it'll be. And I don't really want to get into the politics of it. I'm just bummed that it's a little harder to go to Cuba. That's all. I have never been and would love to visit. So you can still go. You just have to go to another country first and then fly in from there.
Right.
So and by another country, I don't mean Miami. That's some people
which can seem like another country.
Some people might interpret that to be another country, but actually no, it's not. If we would turn our attention to Mr. Twirligig, we have another beer sitting and twirling on the stand, and this one is
Mr. Twirligig, I presume.
This one is from Westbrook Brewing, and that's a hard thing to say really fast, so that's why I slow down every time. They're from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and this is their Black Raspberry. It's an oak-aged sour ale made with black raspberries, and I wonder if you might want to take that bad boy from Mr. Twirligig and see if we can do a little sound effect creation there.
I can. I wanted to point out, though, right before I do the sound effect creation, you handed me this really nice bottle opener from Deep Eddy Vodka.
Yes.
And we've had Deep Eddy on here. They're pretty awesome stuff as far as vodka is concerned. But my question is this. Why would you need a bottle opener for Deep Eddy Vodka?
I think that Deep Eddy made those, if you're asking, like, seriously, I think they made those so they could give them to bartenders, so that when bartenders are behind the bar opening your beer, you see them, they're flashing the Deep Eddy in front of you, in case you're with someone who wants a vodka.
So this is not a product-specific thing.
That's actually mine. I brought that in from home, and I left it here last week, and I was shocked to find it still here, to be honest with you. Because
I was just looking at the irony of something that you never need to open.
I get it. You definitely don't need it for your Deep Eddy bottle. So I like that. See, I like how you fumbled around with that and got a little extra out of the sound effect.
If you don't have that sound,
So that gave us a pretty good little burst of carbonation, I think, there when you opened it. We'll have to see if it is.
Oh my gosh,
carbonated.
this looks like wine.
It really does, Ian. That is the color of a deep, sort of a red wine, maybe like a Malbec or something.
Hold on. I want to pour this.
Pour it right in front
on
of
my
the
camera so you can see this. Look at the color on that.
If it weren't for the carbonation, it really would look like a cup of wine that you just poured.
It's the grape juice that your mom used to give you when you were a kid on New Year's Eve.
That's right. Or like in church where you have the grape juice instead of
the sparkling grape juice here. This
you've heard the little kids and Mom, Jesus' blood tastes like grape juice. So this. Wow, it is wonderful in the nose.
Yeah, this smells delicious, and you can smell the sour in a beer.
Well, you sure can.
And this smells so good to me. I love sour beers anyway. You would have a hard time making a beer too sour for me. I love Petrus.
This is sour.
I
just took a sip. And I like it, but it's sour. It's sour. It's sour enough that it gets you in that spot right below your ears.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, and I haven't tried this yet, but I know, like, a lot of, like, if you're used to sours, like a Berliner Weiss, that's lightly sour.
Well, this has got some of the characteristics of a Berliner Weiss, but those blackberries, I don't know. It's more, this is more sour than the Raspberry AF, but it's delicious.
Wow, yeah, this is
delicious.
This has got a lot more sour to it. This leaves your whole mouth watering like madness.
Yes, it does, and really kind of craving that next mouthful.
Wow, this is good. I love the carbonation in such small little bubbles that make it dance a little bit.
It's kind of a silky carbonation. So, what can you tell us about the bottle? There's a lot of writing on the bottle.
Let's see. This beer is a blend of 33% dry sherry oak cask matured, mixed fermentation saison.
You can get the oak cask.
Yes.
You really can.
Oh, absolutely. It's so dry. And 67% oak. What's the word? Foudre, Foudre, aged sour beer. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Somebody fix it out there. Tell me what I'm doing wrong there. It was blended and re-fermented with black raspberries for 3 months in
so that's
second use Marsala.
So
something.
Yeah, so this is why I think it's so sour, because it's a sour to begin with, and then it was re-fermented with the blackberries, which probably gave a lot more sourness. A lot more.
Man,
sourness
this is delicious.
It's quite a beer.
You are 2 for 2 today. By
It
the way.
almost feels. When you're drinking it, it almost drinks like a champagne, just much more sour. Obviously,
it's so dry, like a good champagne too, and it doesn't leave that lingering taste in your mouth either. It's so dry and so quick.
No, in fact, but what it does is, as soon as you swallow it, your mouth starts to water and want more. Like it's got what I call the Dorito effect. Apparently, and I've read this. I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently the people who came up with the formula for Doritos, part of that formula is it's somehow formulated. I don't know what they use or how they do it scientifically, but it's somehow formulated to make you crave another one as soon as you eat it.
Yes.
Which is, if you think about it, remember their whole
they're called
ad campaign.
hypnotic mind flavonoids.
That's exactly what I would call them.
That's the exact scientific term.
But remember, their whole campaign for a while was "Eat all you want, we'll make more."
Yes,
that's kind of where they're coming from. But this has some of that. Like, as soon as you swallow that sip, you're like, I want a little more.
There's a gum you can get like at Academy or any of the Dick's Sports or any of those places. It's always right by the counter. It's called Quench Gum, or one of those. It does the same thing that this does. It just makes your mouth water like
yes,
crazy.
I know what you're talking about.
This is delightful. This is a bottle that at that size bottle, that's a 1.7 pints. 1.7 fluid ounces, make that make sense. And this is something you share with somebody. I don't know.
It totally is.
I don't know that I can mow through an entire bottle of this on my own.
But you crack this open
is.
And you enjoy it with someone, and you just kind of savor the flavors.
And this is one of those beers, and just look at what we're doing right now. This is a conversation beer, so you get to sit and talk about it.
Talk about what you're tasting, and again, we were talking about this earlier with cigars. It's an experience.
Yes.
And this is not just a beer that you have because you're thirsty. This is a beer you have to enjoy that whole experience.
What I love about the aftertaste on this is that aftertaste of the black raspberries that there's I didn't realize it at first, but there's a little linger of that and the kind of oakiness to it. It's not sweet. It's kind of
no, it's not. But although it does have this tiny hint of, when you eat like a sour jam, like if your grandma makes like a sour jam, and it's got that tiny little bit of sweetness on top of all the sour.
Right.
It's got a little taste of that. Or like a really good cherry pie has that, you know what I mean? It's got the sour of the cherry, but that little bit of sweet kind of riding on top. I do detect a little bit of that. But no, you're right. It's not like a sweet fruity beer at all.
Right, no. Fruity, yes, not sweet.
Fruity, yes, not sweet.
I'm for it.
Want to mention that our good buddy Abel Rodriguez was in the chat earlier and was talking about when we were talking about low ABV beers. And Abel is a guy that really liked to. Oh, I got to swipe left because I turned chat off, and I keep doing it again. Abel's a guy that used to work here. Thank you, and also worked at either works still or worked for a little while at No Label. I'm not sure which, but anyway, he's a good beer guy. He talked about how Radlers are low ABV and very tasty to drink, and they're good. We've had some Radlers on the show.
They always put so much lemon in Radlers, though.
And then also Saisons, farmhouse sales are tend to run a little lower. And this, interestingly, can you check what the ABV on this is? I think it's more than the 5% 10.
5.7.
5.7. So it's still fairly low.
Yeah, this is not a high.
And this has got a bit of a farmhouse ale vibe to it.
Well,
underneath
it said
the blackberry.
It's 33% dry sherry cask matured mixed fermentation saison.
Wow, that's delicious.
I wish that there was an easier way to say that.
I'm sure there is, but
beer
I have no
good.
idea. I have no idea what it is. Yeah, beer good.
That's very wordy. Somebody got paid by the letter there.
Wow. Well, I'm digging it. And I will take more. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to pour a little bit more on this.
So while Ian's pouring, that was almost an accident. This is not a beer we want to
No,
spill.
we don't want to spill this one.
While
This one will
Ian's,
glue your feet to the floor.
while Ian's pouring that, I want to tell you a little bit about this whiskey that we're going to taste in the next segment, and we're going to be talking about great whiskeys for Father's Day also. But the whiskey we're going to taste in the next segment is from the Kuryoshi Distillery, which is a very respected Japanese distillery, and they have just released or recently released the Totten. Totton. It is a new Japanese whiskey. Are you cleaning, Mr. Whirligig?
I'm actually wiping it by just holding the paper towel still and letting it.
I don't know if Mr. Twirligig is strong enough.
I'm
going to
find something to cover this that looks like a record.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
That would be awesome.
Be perfect. You spin me around like a record. Anyway, this is the whiskey we'll be tasting in the next segment. It's called the Totten, Totton, and it's been a very long time since we had Japanese whiskey on the show.
It has been a while.
I thought, okay, let's do it. So this bottle is unopened. I've never tasted it before, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll get to that. Plus, great whiskeys to suggest for Father's Day, whether you are a father and you need to suggest them to someone, or whether you're looking to buy a gift for a father. Whiskey is always a good one. I'm sorry?
You're not my real daddy.
We'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Oh, I thought maybe you were supposed to sing. Couple of good beers there.